Welcome to the Black Woman Going For It podcast with your host, Exandria Wild. So today I'm going to be talking about, time is money, because it definitely is. But are we really viewing it as money, like with the money we invest, like we spend it? And I asked that question because I came across an article on Essence by Coach Felicia, and the title is Time Management Equals Life Management. And one thing that stuck out to me, she said, time is like money. Our time should not be spent, it should be invested. Many of us have money and productivity problems because we consistently engage in transactional interactions. We spend money on clothing items that depreciate, and we spend time on people who depreciate us. Start looking for the places and people you need to invest in. Investment means that there will be exponential returns. You and your life will be better. So I just felt like that spoke to me and I wanted to share with you all. So do you look at your time like an investment? Like, time is not to be spent, it's supposed to be invested. You're supposed to be getting something back. And that made me think a little bit deeper. Like, okay, dang, I do buy clothes, I don't get a return value on it, but when I buy clothes for my business or like work attire for me to do go to network events, then I'm getting my investment back. Because I'm making connections, I'm looking the part that I want to look to make these connections with people. So okay, that's my return investment. But what about the times when you're and I am guilty of this, where you're talking to your friends and you just sitting there gossiping, and you think, like, I started thinking, like, dang, I was really sitting here talking with my friends, gossiping and whatnot. But what was the return investment on this hour spent gossiping about nothing? What was the return investment? And I think, like, okay, I'm not the shade room, I'm not, a blog site, so I didn't get a return investment on that. And I started to think, like, what else, are we spending time on which isn't a return investment? I want you to think about the friends that you have, of like, if you're going out to the club, and what does that return investment look like when you go out to the club? So I didn't see any in the return investment. Another thing, and I actually wrote it down. Let me reference, what I wrote if I can find it. Some things we commit to people please with our time, and we don't really want to do it, but we do it anyway because we want to please others and we don't want to let them down. And an example for me is I was recently on a nonprofit board, and I wasn't into it like I was supposed to be. Like, I believe in the mission and all of that, but I was not invested in it. I was not putting my time into it. And when my time was there, I felt like it was being wasted because it was a lot of talking. And I always, during these meetings, was like, okay, I could be doing something else. And I didn't see the return investment on my time. And I'm asking myself, like, okay, why are you putting your time into this and you're not really fully into it? Like, you're not into it, you're not giving your all. You're wasting your time and you're wasting other people's times that are invested in this. So I finally put in my 2 weeks notice for the board, and it felt good. I did not feel bad because not only when I was doing this, I wasn't showing up. So that was leaving a bad impression of myself, of which I don't want to leave. Like, okay, Exandria doesn't participate when she commits to something. And I do. I could participate in things and I commit to things that I'm really passionate about. But I don't follow through on things that I'm actually not passionate about and I'm not doing for me, or like I'm doing it for others. Yes, let me do it because, I want to do it for you and I don't want to let you down. So that is an example of like, okay, me evaluating my time being spent on something that I wasn't really all into, and evaluating like, how does this represent Exandria in a light? So when you think about what you spend your time on, write a list down. And I'm finna do this too. I'm just now thinking about it. Like, write a list down of everything that you do or like that you partake in, and what is your return investment? What is your return investment with people, with things that you spend your money on? Because that's time when you going out shopping, that's your time. So me, I spend a few hours shopping, and I've gotten to try something that where I give myself a time limit, because that is so much time wasted. Like an hour shopping, if I don't find it, I don't find it. That's it. Just think of the return investment. And then recently, like I'll give a personal example. I made time, to spend with my grandparents. This past Sunday, I spent time with my grandparents painting. And my grandpa, he loves to paint. So I made time for that. I spent, $10 at the $1.25 store now. So it probably was like $11, $13 I spent there. I bought some paints. I bought the canvases. You can say gas. So I say gas. It's like they're not that far away. So we'll just say $3 gas. So we had $18. I spent probably 5 hours over there with my grandparents, and we had a good time. And with that, my return investment was making memories with my grandparents. My grandpa telling me he loves spending time with us, and he enjoyed drawing. So that was my return investment. And when you think of return investment on your time, it doesn't always have to be money, but you want to think about what will you get in return. So me doing this podcast, I'm talking like I've been doing it for a minute. Me doing this podcast, I am loving it so far, and I hope to continue to love it. And when I think about, okay, I'm spending my time so prepping, all that, I'll say about 30, 45 minutes. And then I'm on here, I'll say 10 to 15 minutes talking to you all. My return investment is like the happiness, the joy that I'm getting from doing this and talking to you all. And growing a platform for Black women, that's my return investment. And eventually, getting paid to do ads within the podcast. So that's my return investment on my time being spent with creating the podcast, taking time out of my day, which is probably like, maybe I'll say overall 2 hours, 1.5 to 2 hours. And I see the return investment. So I am willing and wanting to get up. Right now it is 7:44, and I started recording at 7:30. And I'm willing to get up and go for it, do this podcast, because I see my time being invested in the right ways. So I just wanted to share that with you all, and I will leave a link to this article, which is very good. And remember that your time is like money. It's not to be spent, it's to be invested. It is transactional. And when you think about things that you're giving your time to, like I said, write out a list about what you actually are giving your time to and what is the return investment on it. It does not have to be a financial gain. Like I said, with my grandparents, it was the memories. I got some memories. I got to spend time with a loved one. We had a good time painting. And painting is relaxing. If you did not know, it's very relaxing. So do that. And I also wanted to mention that I am doing a challenge, a 5-day challenge for Black women. And it's called the Time for You Challenge. And as Black women, I feel like we are always, it's like embedded in us for whatever reason, like to take care of everybody else before we take care of ourselves, or give our time to everybody else before we get time for ourselves. And with the Time for You Challenge, I want Black women to be able to know that they have time for themselves. They do. It's not that you have enough time for yourself, it's what are you spending your time or investing your time in. And let's figure it out so we can use your time for you instead of others. And I will leave the link below for that as well. And once again, time is like money. Invest your time and see what the transaction is. What is your return on it? All right. Thank you all for being here. This is the second episode. Be sure to follow all my social medias at Exandria Wow. And I hope you have a wonderful, blessed, and joyous day, an joyous week. And once again, this is the Black Woman Going For a Podcast. And I am your host, Exandria Wow. Bye.